Hello today. This is Lou Porter coming to you from the studios here at 918 Newell Street in the heart of Waterloo, Iowa. Today I have a just such an honor that I am sitting with a group of persons that you're going to find out more about. They are veterans, and they'll be talking to you about their being veterans and where they served and what they've done and what all that means to them. And we are so happy here at KBBG that we could be a part of this in some small way, and wanted to take time on behalf of our board of directors and our staff and volunteers to say how much you are honored and how much we thank you, because you are responsible for us being here and a lot of other people's lives that were saved by what you did. So we want to say thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. We wish you well and have a great show. This group is part of the Veterans Tribute Coalition. I didn't know that myself, so I'm going to be listening because I know they have a lot of information, and I know that there's a lot of things that Mr. Spain does that people are not even aware of. So I don't think that you have to be a veteran to ask questions or to ask Mr. Spain what it is that his job does and benefits and all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure that you will get into all of that. So once again, we all salute you at this time and wish you well. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Melvina Scott, who is kind of the opening statement and part of the host group of this event. And I'm the executive director of the African American Historical and Cultural Museum of Waterloo, Iowa. And good morning, veterans, and happy birthday to all Marine veterans. This is your history original day of the start of the Marines. Today, tomorrow is Sunday, a calendar official Veterans Day. Today we are here in Waterloo, Iowa on KBBG radio to have several veterans talk about their service during peacetime and wartime and their community service after their tour of duty. This is one of several events that is hosted by Sister Soldier Network, an African American veterans group organized in Waterloo, Iowa 2 years ago by Dr. Dottie Simpson Taylor, an Air Force veteran and a native of Waterloo. And she also serves as a member of the National Black Caucus Veterans Brain Trust. The mission of the organization is to honor and celebrate African American veterans by telling their stories, sharing benefits and resources, and celebrating in honor and often special healing workshop. We also have in Waterloo 2 women, African American women, who are also still on active duty, and we have Lieutenant Colonel Angela Tina Douglas and Major Leona Sanders, who was formerly appointed by Congressman Dave Negro to West Point, and she's also still serving. And I'm going to turn this event over now to Captain Purple Heart veteran Anthony Tisdale, who will conduct the interviews with the rest of the veterans this morning.
Good morning. Thanks, Melvina. I'm Anthony Tisdale. As mentioned, I'm a Purple Heart recipient. I served in the Vietnam War. I was drafted into service in 1968, and my end of time in service was 1973, January 1973. By being drafted, you're probably wondering how I became an officer. Well, they gave us a battery of tests during that time, and they were short on officers because of combat casualties in Vietnam. And I achieved a score where they felt that I could make it through officer training school, which I did. After they did an extensive background investigation on me, and I think that's somewhat ironic that one of the people that they interviewed during my background investigation was Jimmy Porter. Evidently, he must have gave me some good marks because I did end up eventually being commissioned. Joining us today on this panel several veterans, all of which are veterans, I'm sorry, Benny Spain, Lloyd Green, and Gaston Moore. And they have a few questions that they can answer as far as did they serve in peacetime or did they serve in war. And we're going to start off with Benny Spain. And Benny, if you would, give your title and what you do. And basically, what benefits can veterans expect after their military service? And are there special benefits for Iowa residents?
Well, first of all, I want to thank KBBG and the Women's Veterans for having me here today. First, a little about myself, because I know we don't have much time. My tour started out with me taking a series of examinations, and I kept taking examinations, and it was hundreds of us, and we got down to the last 4. And I ended up being trained to be a Nike Hercules missile technician, maintenance control repairman, and they sent me to school, and I was basically responsible for preparing the launcher system, all the hydraulics, and my responsibility was making sure everything worked, the launcher, and I had hands-on up to the nuclear warhead, so it was quite an experience. I'm the only black person I ever met that did that, and I didn't have anyone else around me as I served. I since went to UNI a couple times, got a BA and a master's, and I now serve as the director of Veteran Affairs, and I've been in that position about 27 years. The best thing I can tell you about benefits is there are a plethora of benefits. I mean, many, 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 and the most important part about it is being aware of it. They're there, but if you're not aware, you will not receive them. We were promised quite a bit. I was in during the Vietnam era, but only I didn't have to go to Vietnam. As Brother Anthony did. I served the latter part of my career in Alaska, beautiful country, but kind of chilly. There are thousands of benefits for about anything you can think of concerning the veteran and also the veteran's family. And the only requirement is basically that you have an honorable discharge, and a second level of benefits is available if you serve during a war period. And there are hundreds of different dates and different skirmishes that kind of define what you can get. So it's hard just to say what you can get. The best thing I can tell you is you should make an appointment to come into the office, as I told Brother Gaffney, you know, I don't know what I can do for you unless you come talk to me, and then I can tell you. But at the federal level, they help veterans. There's three major divisions of it. There's a health service system, there's a pension system, and then there's the educational system that they have in place. And they do a wonderful job. Health care is excellent. The different benefits under the GI Bill and voc rehab are endless. Especially a veteran that was injured, the voc rehab is like the Maserati of all the benefits. They really take care of you. And also your family. And if a veteran should pass away, if he was still married to a spouse, and she had not remarried, she can get benefits because he served. But again, the best thing to do is make an appointment and come in. Now, that's federal. And at the county level, we're mandated by Chapter 35B, Code of Iowa, and we can help veterans that meet our guidelines, which I'm happy to say are not monetary anymore. After years, I finally got a commission to where we do casework. So we look at how you spend your money. It's more about money management now. And if you spend it correctly and you have an emergency, then we feel free to give you assistance. The other aspect of the county is that we do all the service work. We apply for all the federal, state, and county benefits for you. You don't have to do it alone. And again, you have to make an appointment to come in. At the state level, the best thing they have going now is a trust fund. And then that trust fund, should a veteran qualify, and there's different policies for everything I tell you, so it's kind of hard to say how you get it. You have to go through an interview, and we have to assess that. But they help in all different areas. If you're unemployed, there's certain things they can do for you, certain house repair they can do. They can even get into helping you repair a car, depending on if you meet the particular guidelines of that particular section of their policy, the best way I can put it. There also is a veterans home, which is in Marshalltown. Any vet can go there, no matter when you serve, as well as your spouse. And I think there might be some, especially in the black neighborhoods, some spouses that could be living out their lives there, but they're not aware that they can do so. Like I said, there's so much, it would take quite a while to really explain it. Oh, yeah, the cemetery. Yeah, there's a state cemetery now. It's down off Interstate 80, right south of Des Moines. And any veteran is eligible to go there. And you can sign up before you pass away, which is a great deal. You can sign up today, so you can prepare for your future. And your spouse can also go there. And I will give you our office number. It's area code 319-291-2512. Again, this is a short period of time, and the best thing I can say for anyone that's a veteran and anyone that knows a veteran, ask them and insist that they find out. The only person you're hurting is yourself. Thank you.
Thanks, Benny. Benny's quite correct in right in emphasizing that there are a multitude, or as he used the word, plethora of benefits that a veteran can receive from the Veterans Administration, all the way from PTSD to diabetes type 2, which I just recently discovered that I'm suffering from due to exposure to Agent Orange. Our next veteran on this panel is going to speak is Lloyd Green.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lloyd Green. I'm a Vietnam-era veteran. Combined total service, 24 years. I retired. I now living out my life with the memories of being a veteran. I can say that I joined the Army in 1960 right here in Waterloo. Took my basic training at Fort Hood, Texas, my AIT at Fort Hood, Texas, and I was assigned to the 25th Infantry Division in Schofield Barracks in Hawaii. Finished up my tour, re-enlisted. I was sent to Fort Devens, Massachusetts. Well, in Hawaii, I played football, and I went to Fort Devens, and they were waiting on me. I got on the football team, and the Vietnam War flared up, and they asked me, did I want to go, or did I want to stay and play football? So I volunteered to go to Vietnam. It was the best decision I made in my whole life. I found out that Vietnam and veterans are noble heroes, and they carry within them the creed of a warrior. Veterans have a brotherhood second to none, if they keep politics out of it. And I'd like to say right now to welcome home the veterans of our new war over in the Gulf. And I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. Going back to my military career, when I returned from Vietnam, I was assigned to Oakland Army Terminal, and they sent me back to Fort Devens, Massachusetts. I was assigned to the Massachusetts Military Academy, where I was a drill sergeant. I spent 8 years in that capacity as a drill sergeant, working my way up to chief drill sergeant. And when I transferred out to go to another unit, the Alumni Association of the Massachusetts Military Academy found me worthy to name the scholarship, the academic and leadership award after me. That's something I treasure to this day. I told my son about that and he doesn't believe it. He don't believe that they got an award named after me. But that award is being given every year at the Massachusetts Military Academy. It's called the Lloyd Green Award. One year I'm gonna go up there and present it myself. I just want the veterans to know that you're not alone. A lot of veterans, I don't know if they stay in the closet, they don't want people to know. But I think it's very important for the creed of the warrior to extend beyond our homes to the community. I'm not ashamed of being a veteran. I'm proud of being a veteran. I'm proud to associate myself with veterans. And with that, I want to say happy holidays to everyone. Eat up your turkey, bust a gut, and remember your veterans. Tomorrow is our day. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Lloyd. This is Anthony Tisdale again. I was somewhat remiss and I didn't give my military postings and things. As I stated, I was drafted into the service in '68, and at the time Fort Leonard Wood was closed. That's the closest military base to Waterloo. It was full, so I had to go all the way to Texas, to Fort Dix, Texas. From there I went to advanced infantry training at Fort Dix, and then as I mentioned, I went to Officer Kennedy School in Fort Benning, Georgia, and while I was at Georgia, I went to jump school. And from Fort Benning, Georgia, I volunteered for Special Forces, so I was assigned to the John F. Kennedy Training Center, Special Warfare Center at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where I was a member of the 7th Special Forces Group. And shortly thereafter, while on exercise in the Rocky Mountains, I received orders to go to Vietnam. While there in Vietnam, I think my first tour out of 2 tours, I lasted something like 35 days in country before I was wounded. I was shot during the Cambodian invasion. From there, I was medevac to Fort Riley, Kansas, Irwin Army Hospital. And from my hospital bed, I volunteered to go right back to Vietnam for some strange reason. Our next panelist to speak to us is a friend of mine. We worked together for a short period of time before our paths parted, and it is Gaston Moore. Gaston?
Good morning, Waterloo. My name is Gaston Moore. I retired out of the military back in 1995. I joined the service back in 1975. I came straight out of high school, 18 years old. Did not want to work at John Deere's tractor factory or work at RAF, so I said, let me join the military to see the world. I was a very adventurous person at that time. So glad I did. And like Mr. Green said earlier, if I could do it all over again, I definitely would. Now I'm going to talk about my service in a nutshell during peacetime. Like I said, I joined back in '75, and I went to basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and then I done my advanced infantry training down in Fort Polk, Louisiana. They were still training us for Vietnam, even though Vietnam was over with, but they had us walking through the swamps and the jungles down there in Louisiana, just in case. After that, I was at Fort Carson, Colorado, a beautiful state. From there, I went down to Fort Benning, Georgia, and learned how to jump out of a plane. Got my jump wings, what they call them. After that, I went to Germany. To make it short, I went to Germany 3 times. I had a daughter, she was born in Germany. And then I came back home as a recruiter. And some of my jobs that I'm skipping over, when I first went in, I was in communications. I've done communications. I drove a bus around the post to pick up personnel. I also became alcohol and drug coordinator. Then I came home to be a recruiter, which was a blessing to me to be in the military, to come home and be a recruiter. I got a chance to, it's hard being a recruiter because everybody knows you. So you cannot tell those stories, and I was a very successful recruiter at the time. And That's when I met my beautiful wife, Linda Mosley Moore. Been married 26 years, blessed with 2 children. Like I said before, my daughter was born in Germany. And so after that, I started working at a college. I taught ROTC at Gannett University, Erie, Pennsylvania. And I was teaching what you call basic science for the military, which is a very great job. Then, after that, I was called up to serve in the Desert Storm War. And I'm gonna say this, no human being should have ever have to go to war. And the United States is blessed that they've never had war over here on our land. Because what the military does, and we're taking for granted day by day, we provide the blanket that you sleep up under. And that came from a movie. We provide the blanket of security that you sleep up under day by day. If a war ever crossed in our country, you really appreciate your veterans more and more. But veterans provide that blanket of security. And again, no human being should ever have to face war. Now, when I was over there, I fought over there in Iraq. I'll never forget before the war began, there was about 10 to 20 of us on our knees praying, asking Lord, please don't let this war begin. And the Lord knows that I did not want that war to begin. And it begun, and I fought over there from, for 9 months I was over there. And all I can say is that God blessed me to come home untouched, still in my right mind. Thank God for that, okay? So I just want to talk about my career in a nutshell. People look at the military, and which a lot of students do, as a last resort. That's a mistake. People will say, well, I'm going to try to do this, do that. If they fail at getting this job or fail at not getting awarded this money for college, then they turn to the military. And the military just don't take walk-ins nowadays. They don't take those typical Joes. You just don't walk in and join up. See, years ago, when my fellas, my former vets here, they used to give them options. Some of them was either go to jail or join the military.
Come on now.
Okay? But nowadays, you have to take a test. And the military, like any other business, wants the best. So you take a test, and you gotta score a certain amount before you can walk through the doors and put on a military uniform. So again, if it was up to me and I had it all over to do it again, I definitely would, because I'm blessed from the benefits of doing 20 years of the military. And that's about all I have to say there.
If I can, Tony, touch on what he said.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
We are blessed to not have had a war fought on American soil since the Civil War. Can you imagine waking up one morning, turning on your radio and it's off, your TV's off, and you find out through the grapevine that a hostile force have landed in Cedar Falls, and without the military, where would we be? I don't think that'll ever happen. But just sit back and think, what would you do without veterans? Where would you be without the creed of the warrior? You have to be a special person, I figure, to be a veteran. To live the life of loneliness. To live the life of not having known where your next meal is coming from. And to know that you are serving a country second to none. I don't want to start preaching here, Brother Tony, but I just had to say allude to what he said about a war being fought here on our home soil. Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd, and thank you again, Gaston. Throughout, as you were speaking, throughout our history, African Americans have made their sacrifice to our country in military service, all the way back from the Civil War. Crispus Attucks, one of the first casualties in the Revolutionary War. Civil War, the Buffalo Soldiers, and even inscripted slaves and freed slaves from the North. World War I, my great-grandfather, he served in World War I, and he had a more active military presence than did most of the African Americans in World War II, other than the Tuskegee Airmen or the members of the Red Ball Express. Okay, in closing, since we're running short on time, I'll pass it back to our moderator, Melvina Scott.
Again, I'm Melvina Scott with the African American Historic and Cultural Museum. And veterans, there's just one note of public information. All veterans should look in the paper, listen to the broadcast, and ask if you go to restaurants and businesses. They are honoring veterans through free meals and discounts on purchases and through Monday, and thanking you for your service to your country. The Veterans Tribute Coalition is looking for African American veterans to honor at an event in February of 2013 for their contribution to their country and community. And you can email the Sister Soldier Network at gmail.com. Again, that's Sister Soldier Network at gmail.com. Or you can call the African American Museum at 319-433-5028. And because we like to honor veterans like we did at an event last year in February, and again this year during Black History Month in February. The coalition is made up of groups from various organizations, the Knights of Pythias, the Masons, St. John's Lodge, Military Order of Purple Hearts, Director of Veterans Affairs, and Melvina Scott, the African American Historic and Cultural Museum. Thank you for listening. I hope we shared some information that was helpful for you. And we've got a few more minutes left, and we can also take calls if anybody want to call in and ask questions to the panel. The lines are open, and it's to KBBG 234-1441, I think.
No, that's my telephone number.
Or you can call Anthony Tisdale and ask any questions. And Baden Spain early gave his number. That number to Anthony is 234-5875. Again, for the Blackhawk County Veterans Affairs number, that is 319-291-2514.
No, 12.
12. I'm sorry. Again, that number to Blackhawk County Veterans Affairs is 319-291-2512. This has been a broadcast of Sister Soldier Network.
Hey, put it on the one.
Hey, that was pretty good for an impromptu.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's all right.
You're both all outstanding. Good job, Tony. Good job, Gaston.
Quite knowledgeable.
Melvina, good job.
You're quite knowledgeable. I didn't know you was that crazy ass smart.
Did we do okay?
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Veterans